Detective D has released a new film again. This time, the case is fierce and explosive. They peel off the skin of living people, then cut off limbs to make drums with evil curses. Then they stuff the drums with wax corpses from harvesting and dismembering, using the power of the Holy Lotus ritual to make the hated person never be reborn. The story begins with a ghost play. Jia Bosheng, a magistrate of the Ministry of Justice, returns to his hometown to sweep graves during Qingming Festival. He invites an opera troupe to singing for his deceased ancestors. But before the play ends, Jia Bosheng feels anxious and restless. He feels very uncomfortable, so he asks his attendant Zhang Si to help him return to his room to rest. Not long after he lies down, a maid comes in to change the candle. Jia Bosheng suddenly, as if possessed by a ghost, presses the maid onto the bed. The maid, frightened, flees in panic.
But unexpectedly, a quarter of an hour later, Jia Bosheng's house is engulfed in flames. When the fire is finally extinguished, Jia Bosheng has been burned into a charred corpse. Detective D arrives to investigate the case. The candlestick next to the charred corpse is overturned, seems to be caused by the candle fire. But the local magistrate has doubts. If the candlestick falls, there should be a sound. Jia Bosheng could have opened the door to seek help at that time. With such convenient conditions, the culprit is very likely Zhang Si, who accompanied Jia Bosheng back to his room. The magistrate hastily concludes the case. He wants to arrest Zhang Si and send him to the execution ground. The maid, seeing this, suddenly screams like crazy, claiming she did it. The maid says she was bullied and unwilling, so she returned to her room and set fire to kill Jia Bosheng.
But after learning that this maid is Zhang Si's biological sister, Detective D no longer believes anyone and carefully examines the blackened corpse. As the corpse's aura gathers, the deceased Jia Bosheng's 3 souls gather. So the murderer is very likely to have killed first and burned later, and poured candle oil on the corpse to assist combustion, which caused him to turn into a charred corpse within 15 minutes. When the maid discovered the fire through the door and window, she saw the fire person, but it was not Jia Bosheng, but the murderer who hadn't escaped in time. He probably sneaked in and escaped amid the chaos when everyone rushed in to put out the fire. But as long as a crime is committed, it will leave traces. Detective D ordered the magistrate to search all the rooms immediately, but as soon as the magistrate opened a door, a large basin of bamboo oil fell from above. Immediately afterward, the nearby candlestick toppled, instantly igniting the magistrate. Just as Detective D was fighting the fire with all his might, the door of the warehouse behind him opened. Inside was actually Jia Bosheng, who was supposed to have been burned to death, and countless couplets fell behind him. It turns out, the culprit used the already burned corpse as a substitute to create a distraction. His purpose was to mislead Detective D, then burn Jia Bosheng in front of him, to destroy Detective D's reputation as a divine detective. The day after Jia Bosheng's death, another male corpse was found by the river. He was completely naked, curled up in a money box, with multiple areas of skin rolled up and peeled off. And there was white foam coming out of his nose, a typical sign of drowning in the lungs after being soaked in water for a long time. There were no scratches inside the cash box, and the deceased's nails were unusually clean, only a clear mark around the wrist. This was a specially made cash box from Yangzhou gambling house. Renjie ordered someone to carry the body over, to have the casino staff identify it one by one. When a dealer saw the underwear the deceased was wearing, her face suddenly changed drastically. Based on the clues provided by the dealer, Renjie found Chen Yu's home. But when his parents learned that their only son had been murdered, they showed no sign of grief at all. After questioning carefully, it was revealed that Chen Yu was a good boy, but he became addicted to gambling, to the extent that he even called his own sister to a brothel as a companion guest, making his parents furious and cutting ties with him. Strangely, after Chen Yu's sister Li Niang went to the brothel, she not only did not cry or resist, but instead became known throughout Yangzhou as the skinny horse. The madam was overjoyed, and she further attracted clients for her. But the girl suddenly had a red string around her neck, her hands bound, her eyes bleeding tears, and she died kneeling on her bed. Hearing this, the madam was so frightened she was at a loss. She said that yesterday Li Niang was taken away by a guest overnight, but she did not expect that this person would become violent. He beat Li Niang severely and even slapped her face until it swelled. Finally, he had someone carry her back. Afraid that Li Niang might be harmed, the madam hurried to her door, but instead, she heard sounds of flirtation and scolding inside. Li Yang was not resting. She had begun accepting guests again. The madam did not go in to disturb her. But unexpectedly, the next day, Li Yang was dead. According to the madam, Li Yang was probably murdered after she returned. Renjie carefully examined the deceased Li Yang, and he found that whether it was the red string binding her, or her naked legs kneeling on the bed, it all had a religious, ritualistic feel, especially resembling the 7 deadly sins punishment in the Holy Lotus sect. These 7 sins are arrogance, greed, lust, power, anger, envy. When Jia Bosheng died, he mentioned delusional thoughts. Chen Yu, who gambled for years, died in the cash box, representing greed. And Li Yang, who was promiscuous and indulgent, died on the bed, representing lust. If each evil thought corresponds to a person's death, then next, the suspect might harm at least 4 more people. Sure enough, a few days later, the owner of a food stall was involved in an incident. Owner Tao Wangjiang was found naked, lying in a dish, his body already beginning to rot. In front of him, a few rats were scavenging the leftover soup and food on the plate. Renjie approached and discovered that Tao Wangjiang's arm had already been gnawed off by rats, his bones nearly exposed. He was clutching his hands on the table. There were marks around his wrists, which did not look like natural suffocation. Then, Renjie asked the wife of the deceased why she had not noticed her husband's death after so many days. He took the letter to examine it. This was sent from Chenglin Academy. Renjie immediately rushed to the academy and found that the sender was a man named Liu Chengyuan. He is the son of the governor of Yangzhou and had been missing for several days. And the person who disappeared along with him was his classmate and friend, Zhao Chong. Renjie first went to Zhao Chong's house to look for clues. But as soon as they arrived in the yard, they smelled a foul stench of rotten flesh. He pushed open the door and saw a pile of dismembered limbs on the table. The victim's hands and feet had been cut off, which corresponds to the laziness crime of the Holy Lotus sect. The wound bled little, and the blood was congested, indicating he was killed after being dismembered. The academy dean said that Zhao Chong was a lecherous drunkard who loved visiting brothels. A few days ago, he rented a skinny horse named Li Jiao, and after playing with it at home, he took Li Jiao to an abandoned temple and asked his friend Liu Chengyuan to continue playing. Liu Chengyuan, in front of many friends, acted inappropriately toward a newly arrived courtesan. But he didn't expect that night the girl named Lin Yang would hang a red string around her neck, kneel, and die on her own bed. And Zhao Chong, who rented her out, was chopped into pieces, dissected at his home. Even Zhao Chong's neighbor Wang Tao was implicated and was hanged from the ceiling beam. He must have known the truth before being silenced. Renjie ordered the body to be lowered, then approached to examine the corpse. He found traces of incense ash on his sleeve. There was a judge's temple nearby, where people often go to pay respects. Renjie hurried there overnight, but found the temple had long been abandoned. However, when he saw the judge's statue inside, he suddenly remembered that on the night the first victim, Jia Bosheng, died, a troupe of actors was hired to perform a ghost play for the immortals, and among them was a character called Judge. It seems the killer is working systematically, committing connected murders. Later, Renjie noticed that the incense burner on the table showed signs of being moved. He lifted the incense burner, and underneath was a letter of complaint written by Wang Tao. In the letter, he said that he was being hunted by his own sister, Wang Yan. This woman has a malicious mind, and she has been living with her mother at her stepfather's house since childhood. Because her stepfather favored his biological son Wang Tao, Wang Yan harbored resentment. She knocked out her stepfather when no one was home, then set him on fire in the firewood pile and burned him alive. But unexpectedly, just after Wang Yan set the fire and ran out, she saw Wang Tao's academy friends, Liu Chengyuan, Zhao Chong, Chen Yu, Chen Li Jiao, and Tao Wangjiang, standing across. They had come to find Wang Tao for some matter, but ended up witnessing Wang Yan's arson. They were young at the time, timid and afraid, so they chose to hide the incident from the authorities, only telling Wang Tao the truth. But Wang Yan not only felt no gratitude, she thought that leaving these children alive would bring endless trouble. Many years later, after inheriting her stepfather's craft and becoming a female carpenter, she joined the Holy Lotus sect. She outwardly began doing good deeds and accumulating virtue, but in fact she started her own plan to silence her voice. She sent a letter to everyone, intending to capture all of them. 5 witnesses who received the letter rushed together to the judge's temple. That day, the weather was hot, and after waiting for a few hours, they became extremely thirsty. So they all drank water from the water jar, and as a result, they all fainted on the ground. Seeing this, Wang Yan appeared. Then she seized the son of the prefect, Liu Chengyuan, and pushed him into the water jar. Liu Chengyuan was so frightened that he begged for mercy, but she pushed him into the water jar again. This time, no matter how he struggled, Wang Yan never let go, until Liu Chengyuan drowned. And finally, she killed the others in the same way. When it was Li Jiang's turn, Wang Yan saw she was about to wake up, so she directly strangled her to death. Then, according to the punishments corresponding to the 7 deadly sins in the Holy Lotus sect, she disposed of these bodies and forged scenes. Now Chen Yu, Chen Lijiang, Tao Wangjiang, Zhao Chong, and Wang Tao have all been found dead, but Liu Chengyuan, the first to be killed, is missing. Renjie immediately arrested Wang Yan and interrogated her. Liu Chengyuan's sister, Qingci, seeing Wang Yan so arrogant, immediately picked up a red-hot branding iron to force her into confessions. Renjie told her to stay calm. Then he carefully inquired about Wang Yan's recent work from her co-workers. But he found out that Wang Yan somehow obtained a human skin and made a sister drum, which she deliberately sent to the prefect's residence as an injustice drum. Everyone thought she did it to flatter the prefect. But Renjie suddenly changed color and immediately rushed to the prefect's residence and eagerly cut open the drum. When he saw what was inside, Renjie froze in place. Inside the drum was a curled-up man, covered in wax oil. This man was the long-missing Liu Chengyuan. How could Renjie, who had been investigating the true culprit, become the murderer? And these heinous cases, are they really something a weak woman like Wang Yan could accomplish? Renjie. The sky-high mystery. Bizarre cases, layered reasoning, high-energy twists. The true culprit is hard to guess. Friends interested, remember to follow. Looking forward to the next episode.